With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Unemployment has fallen to a 17-year low. The jobless rate dropped to 3.9% last month as employers grew their payrolls by 164,000 jobs. Wall Street opened lower on the heels of this morning's employment report, as analysts had been expecting upwards of 190,000 jobs created. The National Rifle Association's annual convention in Dallas will be hearing from some high-profile public figures starting today.
President Trump will speak, as well as Vice President Pence, Governor Greg Abbott, and Senators John Cornyn and Ted Cruz. Gun control groups promise protests, so Dallas police confirm security at the event here is tight. Val Dior, Dallas.
A Chicago police spokesman says the entire department is praying for an ATF agent shot in the head overnight while working a joint investigation with the CPD. The ATF agent hospitalized in critical condition. The search for the gunman continues. Also at SRNnews.com, striking teachers in Arizona ending their walkout after winning pay hikes.
The walkout by Arizona public school teachers is ending after Governor Doug Ducey signed legislation giving teachers a 20% pay raise over 3 years. It took an all-night legislative session Wednesday into Thursday for the package to be approved. The package calls for a 9% raise for teachers in the fall and 5% increases in each of the next 2 years, plus a 1% raise that was granted last year. Some school districts in Arizona plan to reopen today, but most will likely reopen next week. I'm Mike Rossian.
The Trump administration is asking China to reduce its trade deficit with the U.S. by $200 billion by the end of 2020. A U.S. official confirming the authenticity of a document, making that and other requests that was presented to China ahead of trade talks that have now wrapped up. Wall Street, the Dow is up now 14 points. This is SRN News. Who are America's most effective preachers?
Baylor University's George W. Truett Theological Seminary has concluded 2 years of research by naming 12 people as the best preachers of the gospel in the English-speaking world. Many of the names will be very familiar to Christians in this country. They include John Piper, Andy Stanley, Chuck Swindoll, Tim Keller, and Tony Evans. The full list can be found at the Baylor University website. Michael Harrington, SRN News.
2 abortion groups have filed lawsuits in federal court this week seeking to block the Trump administration from shifting national family planning policy to stress abstinence. One of the suits filed by Planned Parenthood, the other by the National Family Planning and Reproductive Health Association. The 2 organizations claim that the policy shift would reduce access to the most effective contraceptive methods, resulting in more unintended pregnancies. This is SRN News. A woman's recovering after surgery to remove a huge tumor.
Doctors at Danbury Hospital in Connecticut say the 38-year-old patient was suffering from several issues because of that 132-pound tumor, which formed on an ovary. The woman sought medical care because she started rapidly gaining weight, about 10 pounds a week over a 2-month period. The tumor was benign, but because it was sitting on a major blood vessel, doctors were worried about her heart, and she was malnourished because it affected her digestive tract. The surgery was done in February with a team of 25 doctors. The lead physician says 25-pound tumors are not unheard of, but 132 pounds is.
That's correspondent Jackie Quinn. Federal grand jury in Detroit indicting former Volkswagen CEO Martin Winterkorn on charges stemming from the company's diesel emissions cheating scandal. More details at srnnews.com.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, May 4th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.47 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,314 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $40, and the average price of Bitcoin is $9,628. Antiwar.com reports the U.S. military is more deeply involved in the Saudi war in Yemen than officials ever admitted. In fact, new evidence suggests the Pentagon lied to Congress during the March debate about U.S. involvement, presenting the U.S. role at present being limited to targeting and mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes. The New York Times is reporting there are actually a small number of U.S. special forces on the ground at the Saudi border with Yemen. Those troops have not only been on the ground since late 2017, but are there on a mission to help the Saudi military fight Yemen's Shiite Houthi movement. No public debate ever took place with respect to this deployment. Indeed, the Pentagon appears to have gone to great lengths not to tell the American public or Congress about the Green Berets they sent to the border. The Green Berets are intended to help the Saudis locate and destroy Houthi missiles and attack Houthi missile launch sites inside Yemen. This has been going on despite the Trump administration telling Congress that America's involvement in Yemen was purely non-combat, and again despite the Pentagon repeatedly saying that America's sole involvement in Yemen was logistical and support for the air war. Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia said the Pentagon was deliberately blurring the lines between train and equip missions and combat. It is unclear from the report from the New York Times if the U.S. troops crossed into Yemen, but given that their mission was to target Houthi sites, it seems almost certain that they have. CENTCOM Commander General Joseph Votel, during the March debate, did say he had authorization to help the Saudis defend their border. At that time, however, he told the Senate that this was being done purely through intelligence sharing and military advice. Clearly, it also involved physical U.S. troops on the border. It remains to be seen what the consequences of the Pentagon's deception will be domestically. At the very least, it seems like this could provide a new pretext for a vote on ending U.S. involvement in the Yemen war, as Congress lacked all the information they needed to have an informed vote in March. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports Twitter encouraged all of its users to change their passwords on Thursday after discovering a bug that caused passwords to be stored without proper encryption. The social media platform discovered a bug that caused user passwords to be stored in an internal log without going through a process known as hashing, in which password characters are replaced with a random set of numbers and letters. Twitter's chief technology officer wrote in a blog post, "Due to a bug, passwords were written to an internal log before completing the hashing process. We found this error ourselves, removed the passwords, and are implementing plans to prevent this bug from happening again." The CTO said the bug had been fixed and an investigation showed there was no indication of breach or misuse by anyone. He still encouraged users to change their passwords out of an abundance of caution, and Twitter pushed a pop-up window to users explaining the bug and including a link to the settings page. Bitcoin Not Bombs is a launching pad for nonprofits and social entrepreneurs into the financial freedom of the Bitcoin economy. Bitcoin Not Bombs offers premium publicity campaigns designed to facilitate an organization's adoption of Bitcoin as a payment system and to fully capitalize on that decision in their fundraising efforts. Bitcoin Not Bombs is fully committed to being the hub of the nonprofit sector of the Bitcoin economy, maximizing the potential cross-promotion of all our clients and commercial partners. To learn more, visit bitcoinnotbombs.com. Reuters reports the Republican-controlled Oklahoma legislature approved an adoption measure on Thursday that critics say discriminates against same-sex couples, non-Christians, and single parents. The bill would allow faith-based adoption agencies, including those that receive public funding, to turn away would-be parents on the basis of their marital status or religion and religious beliefs. Supporters of the bill said the legislation would open the door for more child placement partnerships. The State House of Representatives approved the bill by a vote of 56 to 21 without discussion or debate, despite vocal objections by the Democratic caucus. Earlier in the day, the Senate passed the bill by a vote of 33 to 7. Opponents of the bill could mount a legal challenge. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
I'm Rita Foley with an AP News Minute. President Trump talking to reporters on the lawn of the White House as he headed toward his helicopter. He's going to Dallas today to address the NRA convention. A reporter shouted the question, would the president be willing to sit for an interview with lead Russia investigator Robert Mueller?
Well, the problem with sitting is this. You have a group of investigators, and they say that I am not a target, and I'm not a target. But you have a group of investigators that are all Democrats. In some cases, they went to the Hillary Clinton celebration that turned out to be a funeral. So you have all these investigators, they're Democrats. In all fairness, Bob Mueller worked for Obama for 8 years.
President Trump set to give a speech today to the National Rifle Association as debate over gun control escalates following February's deadly school shooting in Parkland, Florida. I'm Rita Foley.
From CBC News, The World This Hour, I'm Neil Herland. We begin with breaking political news from the U.S. President Donald Trump appears to question what his new lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is saying. On Wednesday, Giuliani told Fox News that Trump had repaid his personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, for the $130,000 payment that was made to porn star Stormy Daniels. This morning, Trump spoke with reporters as he boarded a helicopter.
I'll tell you what, Rudy is a great guy, but he just started a day ago. But he really has his heart into it. He's working hard. He's learning the subject matter. And he's going to be issuing a statement, too. But he is a great guy. He knows it's a witch hunt. That's what he knows. He's seen a lot of them. He started yesterday. He'll get his facts straight. He's a great guy.
Trump also says he would love to speak with special counsel Robert Mueller, who's investigating allegations of Russian meddling in the U.S. election. In New Brunswick, the Trans-Canada Highway is expected to stay closed for several days between Fredericton and Moncton as floodwaters reach levels not seen in decades. Jeffrey Downey is with the New Brunswick Emergency Measures Organization.
The river's still rising in the south of the province. Communities such as St. John, Oak Point, Jemseg, Majorville, Sheffield, Lakeville Corner, and smaller communities in and around those areas. A lot of people have heeded St. John's call to evacuate while they can and on their own terms. The number of people registering with the Red Cross has jumped significantly over the last 36 hours or so. And we hope that people, even if they don't need the assistance of the Red Cross, that they do register with the Red Cross as they evacuate.
The Canadian Coast Guard is ready to help rescue anyone who may be stranded. Well, the royal wedding between Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is just 2 weeks away, and Kensington Palace is releasing a few more details of what will happen that morning. Meghan Markle will not have a maid of honor. Katie Nicholl is a royal commentator.
There's been so much speculation about who her maid of honor might be, with the big name being Jessica Mulroney. Well, in fact, Meghan has decided not to have a maid of honor. She is going to have a bridal party, of course, but that will be made up of lots of little people. So expect page boys, expect little bridesmaids. We're told the party will mostly be children, in fact, entirely be children. She's decided not to have a matron of honor, or a maid of honor as we refer to them over here. I think that's because she has a lot of close friends, many of whom have been helping very quietly behind the scenes, and I think it was probably just too difficult for her to choose one.
The royal couple will wed on Saturday, May 19th at Windsor Castle. CBC News will broadcast the wedding live on television and on the internet. Well, the Nobel Prize for Literature will not be awarded this year. The Swedish Academy announced the prize will not be awarded for some very specific reasons. Ebba Witt-Wahlström is an academic close to the group.
I'm very relieved, actually, and I think this was the only possible thing for the Academy to do, given that they have no credibility and given the fact that a lot of the members have gone out to the press and media. People are really angry at some of the members that are left.
The announcement comes after sex abuse allegations tarnished the organization's reputation. It will be the first time since the war in 1943 that the prestigious award is not handed out. And finally, we've got some new U.S. job numbers. American employers hired more workers in April with 164,000 new hires. That's up from March. The unemployment rate fell to 3.9% in the U.S. That's the lowest rate from December of 2000. And that is your World This Hour. You can listen to us live on your mobile device using the CBC Radio app or anytime on Amazon Echo or Google Home. For CBC News, I'm Neil Herland.
NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
Still the king of the East. I'm Jeff Biggs, and yet another big-time performance for LeBron James last night. Another demoralizing defeat for top-seeded Toronto. 43 points, including 7 fadeaways, as the Cavs are now 2 wins from making the Raptors fade away in the second round.
Tonight was just a byproduct of that. They kind of laid off me a lot, and I was able to make some shots, some jump shots, and I felt good, going into the stretch of the game. And then, in the post, being able to just, read and react to defense and be able to trust what I've been working on, it helps out a lot.
Game 3 is tomorrow night in Cleveland, from King James to Peter King. In case you missed it, Peter King is going to be working exclusively for NBC, and he was on today with our own Mike Florio on NBC Sports Radio talking about the new deal for Matt Ryan. 5 years, $150 million from the Falcons.
Every time that Matt Ryan takes the field and every time he walks out there, he can throw for 350, and you can ride Matt Ryan to win games, and there aren't many of those guys. So whatever the quantifier is or the qualifier is, Matt Ryan's got to be in that discussion.
One other NFL note, President Trump has appointed Patriots head coach Bill Belichick to his Sports and Fitness Council. Back to the NBA. There are 2 Game 3s tonight in the West. The Warriors up 2-0 are at New Orleans, with the Rockets and Utah tied with the Jazz 1-1. Round 2 at Quail Hollow. Tiger Woods is on the course as we speak. And another rough day with the putter for Tiger, who has a couple of bogeys and is currently 2 over through 11. That is the projected cut right now. Tiger is 6 shots off the lead. I'm Jeff Biggs. This is NBC Sports Radio.